Recognize that your mental health is so important. If you don't, then I promise you'll be so distorted. Stiffened by your thoughts, that's a mental rigor mortis. I'm on a hard mission and it won't be aborted. Assorted memories will seem to be your remedy, but in your darkest hour form into your enemies. Trust your gut, judge people off their energy. Cut them off quick and fast, they are limiting your room to grow.
You're listening to the Expect Effect podcast, where the concept of self-care is our primary focus. Consider this an acknowledgement of feeling, the opportunity to birth every great idea within you. This is your weekly dose of me time, and I'm your host. It's Just Nakia. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at It's Just Nakia. We also have personal pages dedicated to the show at the Expect Effect podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and also be sure you check out the expecteffectpod.com. So thrilled to have you here. Kudos to you for making it through yet another week. We recently saw you on Sunday. We are back on schedule as promised for Wednesdays. This week, however, we're not going to dive into another Voyage Dallas interview, though we do have quite a few more of those coming. I want to kind of space those out. So you will be hearing this week from Laura Miller, who's been on our show before. Really, really excited to bring you this topic. Before we go any further, listen, life is hard. This we know, but here at the Expect Effect, at least for the time that you're listening, we believe that self-care, the processes to becoming the best version of yourself, these things don't have to be. So sit back, relax, and unwind as we together uncover ways to truly expect better, do better, and believe better. Excuse me, a little frazzled there, but we're okay. So yeah, not too much to say. Please go check out the website, theexpecteffectpod.com. I have so many exciting things coming up as we continue to close out this year and go into 2021. And I want you guys to be there, tuned in, locked in, and ready to go. We have updated journal entry topics on our blog page. You can visit again, theexpecteffectpod.com, and you can go to the expectancy factor tab there, and you'll see our updated blog post. You'll also be able to book event sessions with me, learn more about those, learn more about the differences between life coaching and therapy, and also determine your fit. Again, you'll see Minds Empowered Counseling, BetterHelp, and other resources there on our site. So just go take a look at that. You can listen now, learn more about me, and submit feedback to the show if you feel like there's something you want to hear us talk about, a question that you have, anything you want to learn, or, just submit to the show, have something to say. Go ahead and do that at theexpecteffectpod.com. And soon I will have some podcast content creation resources there for you guys available for purchase and review. So go ahead and be on the lookout for those. Probably within the next 2 weeks, I'll get those added to the site. We do have a blog post still coming this week. I promise that is happening. Other than that, man, this week's topic, I'm not black, I'm OJ. We're talking about code switching, when it's necessary and when it's gone too far. And let me tell you, the first time I realized I was black, where you would, and we mark every episode explicit content, and you white people don't try this at home, but the instance where I realized that I was a nigga, right? The first time somebody really pointed that out to me, it was like, gosh, I couldn't have been more than 13 years old, and I was going to get something out of my grandmother's truck, and she had to park on the street next to her place of business. So I'm going to retrieve this item for her, and I see this truck progressing towards me on this one way, and I was like, man, this truck really seems to be speeding up. And I move out of the way, I literally jump out of the way just in time, and he yells out the window, "You fucking nigger." And it really, really, really floored me. I remember going inside and kind of confused, hey, what just happened? And I was given the entire speech that so many of us are given, and informed on all the ways I needed to behave and act, if I'm ever encountered by the police, when I'm out in public, how I should engage in certain spaces, and who you absolutely cannot trust. And I definitely had, from that moment on, so many questions, and I think there are always so many layers that we're uncovering in terms of these conversations, specifically within our communities. Within the Black community is the only experience I can speak to, but obviously as a minority, I'm sure many of you have these conversations conversations within your homes about how we differ from the whites. So this conversation is going to do a lot of speaking for itself. I want you to sit back, get educated on a few things, get insight on a few things. And then to those of you, my Black brothers and sisters, just tune in, feel with us, catch some vibes, see what we think about code switching, our thoughts on colorism, the issues and incidents that we've seen so often here in our society. We are stepping into full effect right after this. I'm Not Black, I'm OJ, featuring Laura Miller.
Hey, this is Laura Miller, CEO and founder of the Sister Girl blog and SG Media in Entertainment. I am a journalist. I am a boss bitch. I have 17,000 jobs, but my core responsibility is to make sure that everyone around me stands in their best light.
Man, and what a time, because you've been on the show before. And since I've had you on the show, I get to write for you now, which is really, really cool.
Yay!
And yeah, you're also a huge, huge PR help for me. So I just have to shout you out as often as possible.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad to have you here this week. And I want to talk about, obviously the title is I'm Not Black, I'm OJ. Notorious from Jay-Z's 444, who I know is your favorite rapper.
Yes.
And we recently celebrated Hove Day.
We did celebrate Hove Day. It wasn't splendid.
You know what? Jay-Z took 48 years to write 444. And that's all I'm going to say about Jay-Z. Will forever be that nigga that cheated on Beyonce. But other than that, great artist. I mean, just even from 99 Problems, straight out the gate with the Black Album.
No. I mean, if we're going straight out the gate, then we go Reasonable Doubt to start. Like, we can go all the way that far.
You're right. But he ripped that off the streaming platforms. I'd be forgetting.
No,
Tidal.
If you have Tidal, it's on it.
Exactly. I
have Tidal.
I'm on the Apple Music train. I'm not gonna do it for them niggas. But
I pay for both. I mean, it's a business expense. I write some music, so it's a business expense.
That is honestly a great way to look at it. And maybe I too will one day take that venture.
I mean, because there's some benefits to each platform. So, I mean, like Apple actually provides lyrics. And,
I do like Tidal's.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Organization. Like, I do like their curation and organizational style.
They curate very well. And the way that the algorithms, suit you, playlist, tracklist wise. I prefer it. And then they also include more in depth on the composer and the producer. It's all more information available.
All 86 people who were on that track.
Yes, and that includes the person who made the song, the original producer, the person who sampled it, the whole thing. You'll get everything you need to know about a track. I love that about that platform.
And this is free promotion, you all. If you want to join Apple Music or
they're
Tidal.
more than welcome to send us checks. I mean,
Man, when I think about Tidal in and of itself, a platform headed by Jay-Z in an attempt not only to bring artists more control, but definitely to bring an exposure to Black artists. And when I think about choosing to take that avenue in the music industry that is so white, no matter how you spin it, it really is. You look at the Grammys, you look at Billboard Music Awards, you look at the categorization of artists. And when I think about even this year, The Weeknd, really upset because he didn't get the Grammy knobs, how hard we work to still insert ourselves in white spaces that clearly are not going to revert or change their ways.
Yes.
And I think about that not only in the Grammys, but at work, if we're out in society, anything you're doing that we are constantly catering to someone else to make them feel comfortable. And really code switching, that's all that is me making you feel comfortable with me.
About me. Mm-hmm.
And what can I do about the color of my skin? So talk to me a little bit about your experience with colorism in the Black community and also how you've experienced being a darker woman in media.
So what I've been told, and this is ironic, and this is the first time I've ever heard such a thing, is as of maybe the last 3 years, I am in season.
What is that? As in Black is in right now?
Yeah, as in Black is trending. You are brown enough. You are natural enough. Therefore, you deserve the limelight now. Wow. Yes. It's been told to me on multiple occasions. I do a lot of my work in African American outlets and Black outlets. So the colorism thing, or the standard of beauty issue in journalism, is a real thing. There is never going to be a time where I'm going to be 100% confident that I'd be a shoo-in for anything. And a part of that is based on the fact that I am brown skin. I do have a gap. I am this color. My hair looks like this. It grows out of my head curly. I'm choosing for it to look like that. It is my choice. I have not worn a sew-in in like 3 years.
Kudos to you.
Listen, I miss sew-ins, and it's not like I'm standing and delivering and I'm making like that kind of sacrifice. It's just, it causes breakage. I don't want to lose my edges. So I'm taking a break from sew-ins.
I'm a time constraint person. Like, everybody assumes they think that I'm bald out of some, like, I don't know, statement, but I'm just lazy. Like, to be real honest with you, getting a fade is so easy. And
but see, my thing is that's less easy to me, because when I had short hair, the fact that I had to show up in somebody's chair every 2 weeks was too much for me.
See, okay, I can understand that, but it's the length of time maybe for me when I'm in the chair. Like, I feel like so much happens.
That makes sense.
When I'm getting my hair done. I've watched the news. We started an award show. Now I'm leaving the beauty parlor. Then we got to say goodbye. Then I really got to chop it up. You go under the dryer? Like, and my grandmother was barber beautician, so I feel all of those things. Something about a fade. So you're finding that, at least in this moment, it's a factor of people. The audacity, I guess, for me is where I'm stuck. Like, you really told me I was in season.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been told I was in season by publicists and journalism people and people in the media and publications in general. And truthfully speaking, I am in season for those outlets. Now, if I was bold and emboldened enough to attempt to take a position or audition for CNN, I can tell you right now, and I want to make it clear to everyone who's listening, I have no issues with my appearance or self-esteem. However, it is less than my...
Laura. Like, you're fucking amazing.
Thank you, Fred. But it is so... I can tell you with almost a shadow of a doubt that I would not be hired for CNN for a political pundit position or a pop culture edition extra. Those things would be elusive to me because I do not have the aesthetic. Things would have to be changed about me to be less, as you stated, offensive to the viewer. My hair would be straighter. Perfect example. I saw a meme a couple of days ago, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, and the question was, if CNN hired you today, I promise you, it was CNN or some sort of outlet like that. If they hired you today, which wig would you choose?
What the fuck?
And it was a selection of 6 wigs that, with a Black woman's face that she had to choose from for the CNN position. That's real life, though. That's how it is. So it sometimes is not even necessarily an issue with your complexion. It's an issue with your hair, or it's an issue with the boldness of your look, the boldness of your shoulders, the largeness of your features. All of these things play a role into it. So that's why even if you go into the beauty industry and all of a sudden there's this new wave of contouring, and that is very important now in the beauty industry because women are going out of their way to have slender noses, to have firmer jawlines, to have a firm jaw structure or cheekbones, to diminish the size of their foreheads so they will appear more European. It's a thing.
Just the structure there. And I think about, too, recently I did a piece where we just explored really what colorism looks like in the beauty industry, not just in terms of skin lightening, but also, like you said, to soften your features. You need to, like when you think about contouring and making yourself more presentable, straighter hair, a different feature, even in the way you speak. What what do you find is different about you now at the state you're in media versus when you started and your approach to code switching?
If I'm being honest, there's a part of me that would still find the CNN wig. If
That's
that was
fair.
really just what
Girl,
I wanted to do.
If it was,
Because I mean,
if
it's
that
here.
time.
Right. If it is that time, I'm suiting up. It's not a problem. But what I'm not doing is, and this is something that I discovered for myself professionally last year, I'm coming in the gate, giving you a certain amount of knowledge, a certain amount of understanding and experience and know-how that is uniquely my own. And that's the same for anyone else. So what I am less likely to do is pretend to be a model of something that makes you comfortable. That cannot happen because what makes me a viable person in my career, in any of them, is me.
Right.
I am the value. And that's for anyone else in any position or any mold. And it's like, if I can't bring me, this is not where I'm supposed to be. And it is just that simple for me.
That needs to go on a shirt right now. You got the Sister Girl Blog merch.
I do have Sister Girl Blog merch. Hopefully you wrote it down because I don't remember what I said. I just
said, if I can't wait, damn it. Oh, marijuana.
See? You see how we did that? We lost it.
Damn.
It's gone.
I'm going to play it back though. And then I'm going to text you and be like, this is the edit. Yes.
And that'll be what we put on the shirt. Because no, seriously, like I am not going to be anyone else. I cannot be anyone else for you because if you saw me enough to find interest, then you saw me. You didn't get a representation of me.
I like that. If you saw me enough to show interest, then you saw me. Not the facade that was in front of you, not what I dreamed to be ideal, but you actually saw what was there.
Absolutely. I mean, there is a difference, and you and I both know because you know me, that there is a difference between my on-air host voice and my Thursday voice.
Oh man, I couldn't. I'm real me on this show, but there are definitely moments that come in a little more high pitch.
Right, exactly. But
this is not the voice I go to work with, y'all.
And it's just a certain energy component. It is not. I mean, I speak clearly all the time. I've been called a white girl since I was little. So I mean, very young, like very young. Imagine being in the projects, speaking the way I talk, and feeling foreign for that. And then moving to an affluent suburb and yet still feeling just as foreign. Specifically for the way that I phrase words, the words that I choose, my diction, the way that I say things, all up for scrutiny. Again, I've had a very long history, and I think most of us, most people of African descent have experienced a considerable amount of, let's say, ignorant banter.
That's fair. That's fair. That reminds me of the woman who came over to me and was like, she had blue jean dye on her hand, a white woman. And she was really innocent in the eyes, but she said, gee, you wouldn't have this problem.
So dye doesn't wipe off on black people?
Exactly.
Sure.
That was the fucking logic. That was the logic. That's
the scary thing because it's like when it comes to code switching, like you said early on, it is not something to say that there are cases in which it should not be required. I teach my child who is 13 how to code switch in my space. So when I say, okay, so you have a certain way that you speak to your friends and you have a certain way that you speak to elders and your parents. That is, in essence, a code switch because he's now splitting up the duality of his personhood vocabulary-wise. But essentially, he's still himself. It's just, you are not going to present me with the full gamut of yourself. Out of respect for me because you are 13 and I am not. But so that's required. It is something that we have to do. It's just when it comes to the expense of denying our ingenuity and our ingenuity and who we are, then it's a problem. Then it's dangerous. Because then you become, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Because you believed what they told you you were. And to be clear, when I mean they, I mean everyone. Because I'm sure when OJ Simpson was thinking he wasn't black, he was OJ, he had, obviously reached a considerable amount of success. He was jumping around airports and Hertz commercials and in all the Naked Gun movies.
And shit.
Exactly. However, in these mixed environments in which he felt socially accepted, financially accepted, in that 1% tax bracket, there can be some confusion. Because
Tiger Woods on him.
You will forget up until the point where you do something that makes a massive amount of people upset with you. And then you'll realize again exactly how black you are.
And it never fails. I even think about the situation with Michael Vick. Not that he was ever against us, but how heavy the tables turned against him.
Oh, yes, it is so quick. One of my favorite Kanye lines is, you fall so hard it feels like a plane crash.
That's exactly what it is. It happens just that quick. It truly happens just that fast. And I think there's also a balance you have to be able to find. I pose this question. In what respect or regard do you think, how does one, I love what you say you do with your son in terms of teaching him code switching in this space, respect for elders in terms of positioning with friends. How does one find the balance where that doesn't happen? Because I even think it happened to Columbus Short, if I'm being honest about actors and actors.
I don't even want to.
Columbus Short is such a depressing. Columbus Short breaks my heart.
No. You know what breaks my heart in totality? This Christmas, the movie. I watched it the other day. Completely made me sad. I was so sad. It was such a sad occurrence. The whole, it was such a wonderful feel-good movie. If you have not seen it, everybody listening, please watch it. And again, we're getting no
Chris
money
Brown
from
needs
them.
to happen again. Yeah, Chris Brown needs another this Christmas. Chris Brown needs a family.
Listen, the way that I looked at Columbus Short and Chris Brown in that film with such reverence and sadness at the same time, it was the most threatening thing to my, I was so hurt. It was so hard. It was so hard. Lauren London's still intact, Idris Elba still Idris. Loretta Devine is still amazing. However, Regina King, still Regina King, right? There's the percentage of black excellence still remains where it is. However, Chris Brown and Columbus Short are not the same, let's just say.
And what's so crazy to me is, they were in Stomp the Yard together and they seem to be doing that little circuit. And I wanted more for both of you. I wanted so much more for both of you, but you didn't want it for yourself. You didn't want it for yourself. Where do you find that you're not running into, to your point, you can't be anything other than what you are. But what advice would you give to someone who says, I'm just trying to make it out here. I'm really just trying to make it. But I feel like the line is so, and I say this as a person who spent some time around white people, in depth with my ex being white. There were definitely moments in which I felt like it's so easy to forget you're not one of them until maybe they need to speak up for you or something happens or you're looked at a different way or you're out and there's a different switch. I'll never forget, we got pulled over and we didn't even get pulled over. My tire blew. Okay. I'm in New Mexico. I'm waiting on the tow truck people to come and these cops stop. And they're looking at the bags we got in the car because we're headed for a trip. And then they're like, oh, is everything clear? They check my license and registration. One white officer walks to her side of the car and just kneels by the window and begins whispering. The other officer takes a step back, is checking the license and registration. When they come back on the thing, they said, oh, she's good to go. The other officer goes into the mic and said, are you sure? They said, yeah, she's good to go. Whole time this other officer is whispering to her like I kidnapped her.
Yeah.
Nobody even speaks to me. And it's just these different dynamics that make you say, okay, for me, that was the defining moment of holy shit, never forget who you are. But I wonder what happens or what advice you would give to somebody who's approaching that season and they don't necessarily know. But what do you think there are warning signs? Do you think what do you think prevents a person from having what we could call OJ-itis?
So I have a lot of HR experience, right? So if we're speaking of specifically like 9-to-5 work structure, each company has a specific culture. You'll hear about it over and over ad nauseum. The culture of this organization is X, Y, Z. You should model that part, meaning the attire, the formal phrasing and business capacity in which you are supposed to speak. That is it.
Okay.
If you're choosing to be in that environment, specifically be in that environment, play that game. However, once you get to the point where you play the game so purely that you then become the person that when the new Black person comes in, you side-eye them, you have played it too far.
Damn, that happens so much. And I don't think people talk about it enough.
It's scary because if you are so comfortable with being the only, because see, that's the thing, there is a side effect to being the only. It can become a safe space for some people. It's kind of like when they say, oh, it's new money. Oh, money feels a way about new money because they behave different, right? However, if this person, if you have been the only representation of your culture, there is a burden associated with that. Yes, of course, that is a side effect. You are now the representative for your people in totality. We all know that Black people are not the same. Ever. But
I think the problem, there are many problems, but
there are many problems with that. Yeah.
Is that you fucking think we are.
But you think we are, and that's the thing. You will have to sometimes be the spokesperson. But then when another person comes in like you, in your skin tone or in your ethnicity, it is your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to welcome that person. But if you feel threatened by them simply because of their existence, you have overdone it. Period. You've crossed the line now.
And I think sometimes where we don't realize what happens in the structure of code switching, and when we deal with issues like colorism and racism and classism, and when we deal with these breakdowns, I don't even think we process how hard it can pit us against each other.
Oh, so it's damning. It's dangerous.
It blows my fucking mind how not on the same page we can be, yet so on the same page, but we still have a hard time identifying what the real problem is.
Mm-hmm. Because I think everybody is trying to get to the core of it. They're trying to get to the starting point. Was it Willie Lynch? Was it slavery? Was it this? Did this happen? What
dates?
Was it Christopher Williams in the light skin wave? Was it Albie Shore? Was it the curly hair? Was it the
black? I would blame Albie Shore
bag?
for a whole bunch of shit. Like, you know what? I would definitely blame Albie Shore.
It could be a thing, but you know, was it the brown bag? Was it these things? It was probably all of those things.
What do you think about it?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I said however, what, makes it continue to be an issue is we're continuing to make it an issue.
That is kind of really ties into my next question, because I was going to say, what do you think when you see people like Mulatto or Light Skin Keisha or like people who adopt like these practices and then say, oh, I ain't seeing no issues. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have people like Lil Wayne who say, well, shit, Lil Wayne, that's it. 2 dreads. There's really nothing else to say about that. I'm gonna let Google help y'all if you don't know. But what happens when you get to the, like, your Ice-T, like, I'm just, all of these people who seem to be these meccas, but also like embracing things like Mulatto, Light Skin Keisha, like, what the fuck?
So here's the thing. To quote Iyanla, or not even to quote Iyanla, I was watching an Iyanla Vanzant episode years ago. Hazel E was on. And
I forgot about her. I needed to forget. I'm mad at you.
I know. I'm sorry. It's just specific to the story. I was she was talking about, there was an issue where she came at some girl and she called her like a black bitch or something to that effect. And Iyanla brought a whole bunch of her sister friends to the show and like got her together. But the culture of understanding, let's just make colorism a woman issue for now.
Okay.
So you have people like me who are medium brown. Because again, we have to identify.
Right. No, there are scales.
I am medium brown, which means I am not dark skinned and I'm not a red bone, right? There are levels to red bone. There's light bright, there's red bone, and then there's just light skin, regular light skin. That's probably like 12 colors, 12 hues on that spectrum, right? Then you got brown skin girls and then you got dark skin girls, right?
Exactly.
Each one of those women has a specific struggle related to that skin tone. What is not easily communicated in a transparent and emotional way is the struggles that each of them has identified, because none of us care.
Ooh,
Because
that
the
was a
thing
mic drop
is,
right there.
yeah, because the thing is like, oh, light skinned girls be like, they so this, they're so that. We don't know exactly how they're presented or how they feel the way people treat them. We don't know. They don't tell us. They build a wall up. And I'm generalizing, but that can tend to happen. You'll run into a girl and you're like, dang, why come it seem like all the light-skinned girls are mean? Well, could be they're trying not to get attacked today. If we're not going to be that transparent with each other, we're never going to get there.
That's powerful. Being open to these conversations, I think sometimes, just from what I've seen, can be difficult, to your point, just because of the walls that have already been put in place. And a lot of like what we have been preconditioned to believe. There were things even I had to grow to love about myself because I felt like I wasn't supposed to have them. Why were my lips so big? Why was my nose so large? You know, like, why was I like, when I got scarred up, you know, like you get cut and there are darker spots on you. Like, I just always wondering why I didn't quite fit the mold. And then I think, to your point, not only do you have the layers that we think we can assess, then there are the things that put them even like in a further demographic. You know, so if you're gay, if you're a person of maybe a different religious affiliation, if you believe something that seems to go against the overall status quo, that's already another thing to leave.
If you're biracial and all those things,
right?
If you're alternative, if you're a tech nerd, if you're all of it, it's a whole thing. Everything is divisive, and it's sad because we can all say that.
And
but then what do we?
It.
But what? Or don't even, not even really haven't even tried to figure it out. Honestly,
damn. Say that. There are so many things we sweep under the rug as a Black community, I know.
Absolutely. I don't think we've even tried. I think we've normalized it, which is why you have, to your point, a light-skinned Keisha or a Big Lotto.
Which I do like both of those women. I just want to be, y'all don't, I don't want the stands coming.
Yeah, no.
They're not right.
No, but she took the weapon away. You know what I'm saying? She's right. Not weaponizing it. She disarmed it. So it's the same way with the N-word. We disarm it.
And you just roll. Yeah, that's damn. You're right.
So you could be Black girl magic all day. We are disarming the stigma of Blackness because there was one. So that, I guess that's step one or phase one.
Yeah, it's to take ownership. I really
take
ownership
to it. Like, just be light skinned, whatever. Be brown. I don't care.
I'm gonna be that.
My MySpace page was Mahogany Mystique back in the day. I was okay. I didn't care. I'm cool with brown.
I feel that because I think the first time somebody called me a faggot, I was like, well, okay. Is that right. How you feel on today? You know? It was like, oh my goodness. But it's like, to your point, being able to take out, to take the power away from the opposing party. I think I've noticed people are genuinely confused if the insult isn't insulting.
Yeah, and I'm going to say a word. I'm going to say a word, a name, and I'm not coming for her. But the fact that it took Beyonce, I don't know, 30 years for a brown-skinned girl track. Everybody's like, oh my God, yes, she wrote this for us. Huh. So
this says a lot about
more that Beyonce wrote it, or that would it mean more if Kelly wrote it? Doesn't matter, really. You know what I mean?
Right. I see what you're saying.
Because Kelly Rowland has been a Barbie doll forever.
Kelly Rowland,
She's the
Kyla
living
Pratt.
yeah, like
I don't
these
know.
are
These
like
bitches ain't gonna age.
they're not gonna age, but Kelly Rowland to me is like the living embodiment of the Black Barbie doll.
For sure.
Like
She's so
she
gorgeous.
looks like it. And she is. And it's like, thank you, Beyonce, for acknowledging your beautiful brown skinned friends because somebody had to do it. Why not Beyonce, right? But again, we have this whole long history of music in which it never occurred to anyone before Beyonce.
Well, I mean, if we're right to your point, now when you really break it down like that, these are messages Jill Scott has preached, Ledisi has preached, Erykah Badu has preached. And
but it means more because Beyonce said
have that empowerment. I'll never forget. Let's not remember when the rest of the world caught on to the fact that Beyonce was Black.
Are you joking?
No, 16 Super Bowl. I'll never forget. I was around some of the white people who were in it.
They forgot. Oh, okay.
Like,
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Like just in awe. Like, oh, are you sure? Like, I'm like, can you see? Because that's a nigga if I ever seen it.
They're like, oh my gosh, the Black Panthers and the Berets, I am threatened. And whatever. It was too much, I guess.
But it is definitely an uphill battle. And I will say, I want to thank you so much just for the perspective and wisdom that you've brought to the table. I appreciate having these moments with you because I forget that we're even doing this. I have to remember to ask questions and to be a podcast host because I'm deep into the conversation. So really, thank you so much. And to your point, taking ownership. Yeah, no, girl, I love these. But taking ownership of what belittles us and really rising above that thing, being open to conversations and also not being so damn quick to judge. Like it really comes down to, and I think the golden rule applies to this in so many other situations, but treat others the way you want to be treated. And I think about others the way you would want somebody to maybe think about you. We never know what's going on. I say that from me to you as some motherfuckers coming out of some rough weeks. Y'all don't know.
Hey man, y'all have no clue. We have lived some things. We have lived a lifetime in 7 days. Okay,
girl. I mean, so many things can happen, and so I think to your point, it is so crucial for us, especially if we seek to become stronger as a Black community, to be more receptive to one another, to be more communicative with one another, and to be more collectively on the same page about taking ownership of what other people would use to attack us, belittle us, or diminish us. Now, in closing, I do just want to ask, this is going to be a hard switch, 5 rapid fire questions. And these are random. I have them written down nowhere. I'm on the fly. So,
oh, geez.
It could get dangerous. But when we talk about Jay-Z and Kanye West, do you have a side of, like, what is your perspective on their current relationship?
No one has ever asked me this on the air before, so thank you with side eye.
You know what, girl?
So I'm going to say some things. Disclaimer, I am from the city of wind where we blow like Chicago wind, okay? So I say that to say Jay-Z was ideally a big brother to Kanye, in which he's obviously mentioned.
Right.
But Kanye, being who he was, had full intention to surpass him, which is a nice goal to reach, of course. But then also within that, he expected some sort of, bond that was supposed to be fermented, and regardless to Kanye's indiscretions, that the love that Jay-Z had for him would in turn be unconditional publicly and privately. When he identified that was not necessarily the thing, he lashed out and continues to. I heard him on the track a couple of days ago and he was coming for him on the track. Damn. I heard. And I'm like, Kanye, you're not going to let this go. He's not going to let it go. I am a Sagittarius. He is a Gemini. I have a friendship that is exactly like this. They don't let things go.
They don't. I literally talked to a Gemini for all of maybe I promise it couldn't have been a full summer. And when it took me even longer to get rid of her.
Not only that, they can be like fuming, upset with you, and you might not know because they're not going to tell you. They're non-confrontational people, typically. unless they're
They
like a
just hold it in.
sociopath. You know, they'll tell someone else.
Oh wow! So you
Yeah.
just won't get the smoke, but that would make a lot of sense.
So-
Why we know the business,
Yeah.
and he
And that's
yeah,
exactly why the man goes on stage like, please don't shoot me. Please don't come for me. You couldn't call him? You don't think this conversation would have been met better if you would have just called this person? No. This is a non-confrontational person. This is a boisterous human that has genius level talent that hasn't quite got a full, hasn't quite cultivated the coping strategies required to be a good friend.
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. In the essence thereof, I don't really do an old Kanye versus new Kanye. I feel like
they're all
old
the same.
Kanye is new Kanye. I was like, this nigga been good. Like, I have followed him from jump, and he has been this crazy the whole
Absolutely.
time.
He's been saying it the whole time.
What is your like? I really feel. I was like, I don't know why y'all are shocked, especially when My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out. I was like,
that was album. That was a great album. But yeah,
that was a great album. Crazy though. Next random question. If you had to bring back one music artist from the dead, out of the options I'm giving you, are we bringing back Luther Vandross, Whitney Houston, or Aretha Franklin?
Oh my gosh.
I know. You're lucky I didn't throw Michael's ass in there. But
I'm going to give you Whitney. I'm going to bring back Whitney because she was on the path to redemption and she was trying to be better and she was going to get there. So I'm going to bring her back.
She was. And $1 Million Bill is one of my... Girl, I listen to that song.
I believe that everyone else had, stay or go. Their impact was done and I don't feel like they had anything to prove. And
that's fair.
Of course, Whitney had nothing to prove with her voice being what it was, but I think she was on the apex of a real legitimate comeback to re-ferment herself to superstar status. And that would be the one I give the second chance to. And that turn of events could have changed the lives of two other people. So I'm going to go Triage and we're going with Whitney.
You're right.
So Whitney, we say Whitney, we say Bobby
Christina.
Chris, we say Nick, we say everybody. Everybody's the life.
You're right. Everybody's better if Whitney's here. You're right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So with that, who is the more dedicated managerial parent? Is it Kris Jenner or is it Joe Jackson?
It's Sonia Norwood.
God damn it. Oh, wow. So, you know what? I don't give Sonia enough credit because, God damn it.
Yeah, it's Sonia Norwood. That's the real answer. Because Sonia allows her children to be themselves to the most
You're
part.
Right.
She's allowed Brandy to be Brandy and Ray J to be Brandy and still support them. She had them set up where they no longer had to perform nearly 2 decades ago. So Sonia wins.
You're right. Sonia does win. That is who even knew. Okay. Question number 4. Are we on? Okay. Let's see. If you had to pick between forever having to smell something, do you pick pickles or asparagus?
Never having to smell it?
Like you have to smell it forever. Sorry. Like it's going to be the one thing you have to smell.
Ooh, pickles.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Pickles over asparagus. Okay, last question. You have done a number of celebrity interviews, all of which I love. What was your favorite moment with Christian Keys?
With Christian Keith? That's who you picked. Okay.
Hey, we're not going to go into Keith Sweat. I really don't even want to. I would ask about Keith Sweat, but I have a lot of questions for Keith Sweat personally. Like, ever since I heard the Sweat Hotel, I have a lot of questions for Keith myself.
Understood. My favorite moment with Christian Keys. I would say that he was just really open, very, very open. And he shared, about the abuse he experienced with his, foster mother or his adoptive mother. And he shared things about his faith and, it was a very real conversation that took me completely by surprise. Not because I didn't know that he was smart. I just didn't know how faithful he was and how, healed he was.
That's big. A lot of people don't get to that part.
Man. And that was serious thing. And I think everybody watching it was really didn't expect it either. Like they may have heard portions of his story, but being allowed a full 60 minutes to just kind of go into his life in more depth and understanding was really good. I really enjoyed Christian. And pretty, of course.
Yeah, very pretty. He's honestly one of my favorite actors in the sense of how down to earth he seems even in his roles.
Oh man,
he always
gives
gives
so
off
down to earth.
He just always gives off this inviting energy. So I think it's easy because when I think of play actresses, especially now, if we're just gonna be real, I saw Christian Keys on Tyler Perry play, so I'm gonna lean on some Tyler Perry actresses and actresses here. But who are some of my favorites? Obviously Cheryl Pepsi Riley, Christian Keys. They would always bring the energy to the table that made me feel like this is an inviting thing. And y'all are putting some realness into it that makes me feel like I'm also in the living room. So that's also really, really dope. This has been a bomb-ass 40 minutes. Laura, if you would, just let the people know where they can find you on social media and how they can get tuned in.
Okay, well, you guys can find me on Laura Miller Pens on Twitter and Instagram, and Laura Miller on Facebook. The Sister Girl blog is TheSistaGurl. That's on Instagram and Twitter. And SG Media and Entertainment, I started it, but I don't really have any followers on there, so you don't really have to feel obligated to follow me there. Website, of course, but you can. Please do. But the website is www.thesistergirl.com. Any information if you want regarding to seeking me as a publicist or a manager for your music artist or strategy consulting for your business, you are welcome to do so at info@thesistergirl.com.
And let me tell you, it's going to change your life because mine has changed for the better.
She is making moves, you guys. Like, I don't know when this podcast is going to air, but like, I need you all to really understand what is going to happen in 2021 for the Expect Effect podcast. Like, she is catapulting out of the stratosphere and she doesn't even know it. This is why our last couple of weeks of 2020 are so challenging because what's going to happen to us
in 2021?
In 2021, it's going to take the world by storm. So we are preparing, taking the storm for you first.
Man, so I just want to say on public record, Laura, you are a light. I mean, a dead light. You have renewed my faith in friendships and people, and you make you help add some get up and go to my day. So you guys, this has been another week of expecting better, doing better, and believing better. I am your host. It's Just Nakia. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at It's Just Nakia. We also have personal pages dedicated to the show at the Expect Effect Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. But y'all know what's really, really fire? That website I put together for y'all. So that's the expecteffectpod.com. Y'all gotta go there. That's the expecteffectpod.com. You can learn so much about me as a person, interviews I've done, listen to our show in real time, submit inquiries, do our blog posts. And if you ever need an ear or a shoulder, I charge for them vent sessions, but I'm here. So go ahead and vent. Yeah, go ahead and pick one. I am here. But guys, this has been your weekly dose of me time, and we will see you next Wednesday.